Welcome to episode 4 of Chasing the Stick, the history of Naughty Dog during the PS4 era. My name is Max Roberts. I decided to break up the 6 parts of my history into individual episodes as well, for more choice for you, the listener. This episode dives into the rapid, slam development of Uncharted: The Lost Legacy. From pre-production to release in just 15 months, The Lost Legacy is a marvel to explore. I hope you enjoy. Part 4. Uncharted: The Lost Legacy. Checking ambition. Quote, "Sometimes we have a design idea that's so unusual that it could support the story in a better way than a cutscene. So we find a way to incorporate it into the story, no matter what the complexity and the cost." End quote. Marianne Hayden. After the long-awaited release of Uncharted 4, Naughty Dog began prototyping their next 2 titles, according to Jason Schreier in Blood, Sweat, and Pixels. Looking at game director Kurt Marginow's LinkedIn profile indicates that the prototype phase for Uncharted: The Lost Legacy started right after Uncharted 4. It is incredibly impressive that The Lost Legacy would go from prototype to release 15 months later. Fans would not have to wait long to learn what was happening inside Naughty Dog. A reveal would happen at PSX 2016. The show would open with the reveal of The Lost Legacy. Ironically, it was the intro of the game itself, with its leading lady donning a shroud. Chloe Fraser was the star, with Nadine Ross as her partner, and the game appeared to take place in India. It was also revealed to be a standalone game, indicating a scope far outside DLC for Uncharted 4. The Season Pass for Uncharted 4, which cost $25, was removed from digital stores on December 13th, after Naughty Dog gave fans a heads up. Fans could lock in the digital version of The Lost Legacy at the cheaper price if they bought the pass before then. As Sean Layden closed the PSX 2016 presentation, he left fans with that special "one more thing" moment. Quote, "The game is in early development, super early, but the team behind it wanted to share this with you guys today. This is from their updated engine, running on PS4. All I'm going to say is thank you for coming, and enjoy." End quote. Sean stated before the teaser rolled. I knew immediately when the teaser started that it was another Naughty Dog game, or so I wrote on my old blog, but I didn't expect it to be The Last of Us Part 2. It was an extremely exciting weekend to have 2 new Naughty Dog games announced. The Lost Legacy seemed to outgrow the confinements of only being the previously announced single-player DLC for Uncharted 4. As for The Last of Us Part 2, Druckmann took to the PlayStation blog to give fans a post regarding the announcement. Quote, "While a sequel may have seemed like a foregone conclusion, that wasn't the case. We knew that it needed to be a story worth telling, and perhaps, more importantly, a story worthy of Joel and Ellie. After spending years on different ideas and almost giving up, we finally uncovered a story that felt special, a story that evolved into an epic journey. It's still early days for the project. The game's release is a ways off. But we couldn't wait any longer to give you a glimpse of what's to come." End quote, Druckmann said. That night, video game news site Kotaku broke a story that Straley would not be returning to direct The Last of Us Part 2. Written by Jason Schreier, sources claimed that Straley would be taking a year-long sabbatical. Sony would provide a statement the following morning on December 4th, 2016, confirming that Straley was taking some, quote, "much-deserved time off," end quote. The beginning of 2017 was quiet as the studio worked away on 2 new games. Uncharted 4 reached 8.7 million copies sold in just 7 months. It wouldn't be until March 2017 that news from the kennel would start to roll out for the year. On March 8th, 2017, co-president Christoph Balestra announced his retirement from Naughty Dog via a blog post. He would officially leave on April 3rd, 2017. Balestra was one of the 2 developers assigned the co-president title when Jason Rubin and Andy Gavin left in 2004. Balestra had started at Naughty Dog in 2002. Evan Wells would be the sole president of Naughty Dog going forward. A week after Balestra's departure in April, Naughty Dog announced the release date and price for The Lost Legacy. Fans would be able to play Chloe and Nadine's adventure in short time when it launched on August 22nd, 2017 for $40. For the first time since Uncharted 3, Naughty Dog would hit their initially announced release date too. At E3 2017, Uncharted would be Naughty Dog's only game present. The Lost Legacy opened the press conference with a frankly odd musical intro and water show before launching it into a brand new story trailer. The press would get to see a demo behind closed doors. Fans would have to wait until June 20th, 2017 to see the demo for themselves when Naughty Dog streamed it worldwide, just like they did for the second half of Uncharted 4's E3 2015 demo. Another demo would be shown off in July, which revealed the wide-open Western Ghats chapter of the game. This section gave players unprecedented freedom and choice about where to go and how to tackle certain encounters. It would also house the first side quest in Uncharted history. The Lost Legacy launched right on time on August 22nd. I distinctly remember the day as I was taking care of my parents' apartment and their cats while they were out of town. My day was wide open, so I hooked up my PS4 to their big old TV and sound system and played the whole 8-hour game in one sitting. I ended up reviewing it as well. The Lost Legacy was directed by Sean Eskeg and Kurt Margenow. It was written by Josh Scher. Eskeg was the creative director. He left in 2018 to join Crystal Dynamics. Margenow had been with Naughty Dog since 2008 in the Uncharted 2 days. He was a lead game designer on Uncharted 4 and is now the co-game director on The Last of Us Part 2. Scher was a writer on Uncharted 4 and is also working on The Last of Us Part 2. During a GDC 2018 talk, Scher revealed that the original schedule was built with 4 hours of game time in mind. The Lost Legacy scope seems to have quickly ballooned into the 8 to 10 hours that it became. I could not discern if that expansion was crammed into the original schedule. As a one-off line in an article regarding crunch, Jason Schreier reported that one developer said The Lost Legacy was the worst crunch they had ever experienced. It is pretty remarkable that they were able to fully develop and release a game of Uncharted 4's visual and gameplay fidelity that is also around the same length of Uncharted Drake's Fortune in just 15 months. In an interview with ASIS Game Maker's Notebook, Druckmann briefly mentioned how The Lost Legacy outgrew its original scope. Quote, "The Lost Legacy had to take a bunch of resources from The Last of Us Part 2, end quote, Druckmann said when discussing why The Last of Us Part 2 was not at E3 2017. This trade-off in resources and focus would ultimately inspire The Last of Us Part 2's next reveal at Paris Games Week 2017. The reactive cinematic experience. The Lost Legacy presented Naughty Dog with a unique opportunity to swiftly address the criticisms players had with Uncharted 4. Instead of waiting multiple years for a sequel to see how Uncharted would change, The Lost Legacy allowed for fresh criticism to be implemented head-on. A prime example was found in the differences between the climbing portions of the two games. Uncharted 4's climbing sections were considered by some to be awfully long. It turns out that the previously mentioned mechanic of shooting handholds was scrapped late in development, meaning that the team could not redesign those sections without reworking significant portions of the game. With that knowledge and eventual criticism, The Lost Legacy's climbing was built from the ground up knowing that the mechanic would not be present, which resulted in much snappier climbing sections. The Lost Legacy is also a testament to Naughty Dog's well-established dedication to detail. They don't just make beautiful games, they make beautifully rich, dense games that mirror the real world whenever possible. Take the map in the Western Ghats chapter of the game. As the player explores the space, Chloe marks up a map with potential areas to explore and places they've been. As pointed out by Kirk Hamilton of Kotaku near the game's launch, the map Chloe pulls out and marks in her animation is the same map when the players press the map button to see it in full screen. Clarified in the same article by Margenow, the maps are the exact same because when the player clicks the map button, the in-game camera swings down to the map in Chloe's hands. This keeps everything in-game, allowing for smooth transitions that keep players immersed. Another visual element with insane attention to detail is Chloe's watch. Margenow wouldn't tweet about this detail until 2019. The watch runs in real time, with the occasional reset to a pertinent time in certain cutscenes. This was all in the hope that the watch would reflect an accurate time when users enter photo mode. It's this kind of attention to detail that I love to know is there. Naughty Dog included a new type of collectible in the game. Beside the usual artifacts and the previously added optional conversations, this time around, There would also be photo vistas or scenes that Chloe could snap a picture of on her Sony phone. This new type of collectible serves multiple purposes. At a high level, it gives players an incentive to intentionally look at and enjoy multiple scenic views. The art team has to spend a significant amount of time creating these vistas. Naughty Dog prides itself on creating gorgeous game worlds. It makes sense to want players to look at the game more closely. At the mid-level, Naughty Dog answers the question of how do we get the players to check out the scenery on a game mechanics level. They do this through internal and external systems. Internally, The Lost Legacy has Chloe use her cell phone to capture these images. It is a grounded device that makes sense to the player. Taking pictures with the in-game camera will typically open up optional conversations. It helps tell the story of the world and characters by having the player execute the act of photography. It helps tell the story on the stick. The external mechanics are built into the PS4 itself. Since the photos are a collectible, they count toward unlocking a trophy for snapping all optional pictures in the game. This feeds into the trophy system on PSN and gives players a reward that can be shown off, especially if the player unlocks all trophies for the Platinum Trophy. There's also the share feature, so integral to the PS4 that there is a dedicated share button on the controller. Players have the option to share these snapshots with friends on social media. They can also use the game's built-in photo mode to strike poses, change Chloe's face, and capture rad moments, all at any time in the game, including cutscenes. How all of these mechanics come to be is through some serious technical chops. To make these systems, the gameplay and cinematics have to be rendered in real time and in-game. Everything is happening at once so that the camera can be manipulated as needed to show accurate and great-looking information. From a map to a scenic view to a well-directed cutscene, the game has to be ready for user input. The Lost Legacy proved quite a bit for Naughty Dog. It proved that the studio could turn out a game of high quality in shorter periods of time. It proved that Uncharted could go on without Nathan Drake. It reaffirmed their ambitions often exceed any expectations, internally or externally. It brought different developers into the director chair. It allowed Naughty Dog to experiment with ideas that pushed their wide linear design while still in early development for The Last of Us Part 2. Coming forward. Nearly 1 month after the release of The Lost Legacy, Naughty Dog announced its second major departure for the year. Bruce Straley was not returning from his sabbatical. Straley and Naughty Dog president Evan Wells wrote individual posts announcing Straley's departure. Straley was with Naughty Dog for 18 years, best known for being the game director on Uncharted 2 and Uncharted 4, along with co-creating and directing The Last of Us. Following the last 3 projects that Straley worked on, it is not difficult at all to imagine why Straley took the sabbatical and why he ended up not returning. These games clearly demanded quite a bit from each person on the team. Straley has gone on to consult and help shape much smaller experiences. In 2018, he helped create a VR experience that used a real actor in the play space while the player was in the virtual world. While Straley may have left Naughty Dog, it's clear to me that he still is interested in immersing players into the game and the story through interactivity. In October 2017, Naughty Dog faced public allegations it had never had before. On Saturday, October 14th, 2017, former multiplayer level layout artist David Ballard claimed he was sexually harassed by a lead at Naughty Dog. Ballard made his statement via Twitter and Facebook. Ballard said that he had a mental breakdown in February 2016, which resulted in Sony HR becoming involved. When Ballard told HR about the harassment, Ballard said he was promptly fired the next day and was offered $20,000 to agree to the termination and not discuss it with anyone. He declined to sign. The next day, Sunday, October 15th, Naughty Dog made a statement in response. Naughty Dog said they had found no evidence that Ballard had reported harassment in any way, both at Naughty Dog and at Sony. The company also said they have, and always will, take reports like these seriously, as they value every single one of their employees. The following day, Jason Schreier published an article with 3 Naughty Dog sources speaking under the promise of anonymity. All 3 employees that Jason spoke to had not heard about Ballard's allegations until he made them public. These employees confirmed Ballard's mental breakdown at work. They even claimed he sent a hostile email to another artist while copying the entire company on it. Ballard gave a response at the end of October to the website The Sixth Axis. Ballard was not going to name the people involved due to people's safety, and hoped his coming forward would make people aware of workplace harassment and give people, quote, the ability to not stay silent, end quote. Ballard also hoped, quote, to heal from all this and regain my dignity and respect, end quote. 7 months later, in May 2018, Ballard would speak out again, this time naming his harasser and the other people involved. Ballard tweeted on May 7, 2018, stating that 2.5 years after the harassment and prompt firing, that he still did not feel like he had, quote, dignity and respect because of it, end quote. 3 days later, Ballard named his harasser. Ballard claimed it was Robert Cogburn, a lead game designer with a focus on multiplayer layout. Cogburn had left Naughty Dog in January 2018. Ballard also named former co-president Balestra for accusing Ballard of wanting to fire Cogburn. Ballard also named the Sony HR employee whom he told about the harassment. I could find no other statement made from either party after this. Ballard's LinkedIn profile does suggest a timeline where his unemployment does not entirely line up with the claimed 17 months in his original statement. From June 2016 through August 2016, he worked as an artist at Turbo Button for a Google Daydream VR title. From November 2017 to May 2018, he worked at Giant Squid as a game designer. In January 2019, he started at Amazon Game Studios, where, as of this writing, he currently works. 2017 was a year of highs and lows for Naughty Dog. Multiple leaders left the company while new developers rose to the challenge to continue enriching the studio's legacy. One project would go from conception to release, while another began a fuller, longer, more difficult development. The future of Naughty Dog and the PS4 would be slowly built out over the remaining 3 to 4 years of the PS4's life cycle. The sequel to their last-generation masterpiece and swan song would take center stage. It was time for The Last of Us Part 2. This has been the fourth part of Chasing the Stick, the history of Naughty Dog during the PS4 era. If you would like more, head on over to maxfrequency.net. The next episode focuses on the development of The Last of Us Part 2 and how one project spanned an entire console generation.